Came out 9 hours ago. Let's check it out.
The movement to stop publishers from destroying the games that get created has now entered a new phase, as now with signatures piling up, it has now become big enough that they can no longer ignore the demands of the players any longer. Firstly, an update on signatures from my previous video.
Ooh,
The
I like that.
signatures have dropped a bit, but this is because some of the signatures were deemed to be illegitimate or possibly botted by some
Look
users,
at that, guys. Absolutely support this. Please.
which is actually
If you live in the EU, please sign this initiative.
illegal, so clearly those signatures have now been removed from the overall initiative because obviously, if they kept it, it could destroy this entire thing before it really gets going. But Stop Killing Games, regardless, thankfully, has reached its goal, so this is a win either way.
So I haven't played Stellar Blade yet. Is it good? I mean, it looks all right. I'm not the biggest fan. I never buy a game for gooning, dude. So it's not like to sell me. I mean, it's like it's one of them things where I just don't know if it's that good. Like if I'm gonna play it all the way through, but I'm on the fence. I think if it ever comes to like a sale, I'll buy that shit.
However, now that the signatures are at a healthy spot, it has now caught the attention of the European side of gaming publishers. And to say that they're not happy about this whole thing going viral and all that, that is not an understatement. Recently, Video Games Europe, which is a company that is directly tied to the laws and distributions of video games across Europe, obviously, has responded officially to Stop Killing Games, and here's what they said.
Oh
We
yeah.
appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We
Nope. No, it don't.
understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Private servers are not always a
Keyword. The laws. The thing that the whole thing wants to change is the fucking laws.
viable alternative option for players, as the protections we put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave rights holders liable. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months. So, there's a lot to dissect there, and it's not good, guys. Let's just go from the top. Essentially, Video Games Europe, which I will just call VGE for now on, is completely against Stop Killing Games because
It's basically he could just say veg. If he said veg, I totally would understand him.
they deem its demands are just not realistic. By claiming that the issue is multifaceted, they conveniently smokescreen the entire argument in whataboutisms and instead try to skirt around the issue without giving any solutions but claiming that it's all just entirely out of their hands. So they say it's all because taking these online games offline would just result in a mass commercial cost to them. They mean
Like I'm not crazy. Like this gameplay like right here that's on screen, that doesn't look like super compelling gameplay, right? I'm not crazy for that. I feel like I'm not crazy for that.
money, obviously. They just don't want to spend extra money creating an offline version of a game that was not doing well enough initially so people can just play it in the future. The fact that they claim that this is impossible is kind of crazy. They're actually trying to justify the reason why you shouldn't be entitled to the games that you bought, with your own money, is simply because it wouldn't benefit them. That's really what this all comes down to if we just cut the
Yep.
BS and just say it how it is. Yeah, I find that
Mm-hmm.
insane because they are very clearly totally fine with taking your money for these games that they create, happily so. But suddenly, once that transaction is finalized and the money enters their account, they suddenly act like they aren't able to deliver the product unless more people just keep giving them money. It's actually kind of crazy. It's like if I said, yeah, that car you bought that you drive to work and whatnot, sorry, I gotta take that back from you because you see, these people over
Or they have to be explicit. Explicit being the key word here about how long the servers will maintain. So let's say they want $40. No, I can't do that. But anyway, um, sorry, Extreme Elevator. I cannot do that. Um, it's usually some hackery going on when adding on Discord. Now, well, I will say, fuck, it threw me off. Let me re-listen to that real quick.
Like, they aren't able to deliver the product unless more people just keep giving them money. It's actually kind of crazy. It's like if I said, yeah, that car you bought that
Oh yeah, yeah. So if they're explicit, they have to be explicit about how long the server has been taking from the point of purchase. Not saying that, hey, if we keep getting money, that as long as we still make a profit, that it'll go on for another, 1 year after. Like that's not explicit enough. I'm talking about when you were asking for $69.99 of my hard-earned dollars, you have to tell me, do I like you have 5 years of this game? Like, and if I say if it's explicit and I understand and made understandable and not hidden between a bunch of legal garbage, right? But you're explicit and you tell me the truth, much like leasing a car. So if I wanted to lease a car, that it's explicit that I have to return the car, right? I have a certain time period. So if that is what you guys want, then that's how they need to go about it, right? And if not, let us do our private servers like we do with everything else. I mean, so many of my favorite fucking games are on private servers, dude. Warhammer Online, um, City of Heroes, dude. I fucking love that game. Guess what? We're gonna be playing on stream soon enough. And guess what? That's a private server, dude. Fan funded, right? There's so many other ones. There's so many. I could probably list there for 20 minutes listening to that. But yeah, they need to be explicit about exactly how long you have with the game at the point of purchase.
you drive to work and whatnot. Sorry, I gotta take that back from you because you see, these people over here didn't buy more cars from me. So that now means you have to lose access to the thing that you bought from me and are using because not enough people bought cars from me as well. Like, you realize how stupidly insane that sounds when you take this explanation and then place it against literally any other form of business transaction in the world. Sorry, you can't have electricity in your home because these people didn't pay their bills. So now you just lose your access to the internet and whatever. Don't get mad at me, okay? Blame these other consumers instead, who just didn't buy enough of the thing that you bought. It's just not my fault. It's out of my hands. This is basically what they're saying to you. When in actuality, though, it really isn't. The fact that VGE then claims that the better alternative is to simply give players a heads up before they take these games offline while retaining 100% of the money they made while removing the product that you bought is exactly why Stop Killing Games is so important, because that business practice is completely flawed. I think we can all agree on this one. Like,
hey, fucking man, brother. Amen.
Seriously, please tell me in the comments, is there any other product or industry that you can think of where you have that product taken from you against your will because others didn't buy enough of it too? The only comparison I can think of maybe is like a streaming service, but then again, streaming services removing movies or shows, that's also a major problem that also directly ties into this movement too, and also kind of proves the point that none of this is really fair, but in every other aspect, when you buy something, it's yours. Whether it's a car, a TV, a couch, or really anything else, the fact your entitlement to said product is not based on your actions alone, but instead the actions of a hypothetical monolith of other consumers out there is just crazy. And the fact that VGE answered this movement with that response is exactly why this movement needs to happen, because, let's be real, this is terrible. And the fact they even chalk it up to, this needs to happen because us taking the game you bought from you is actually just us protecting you via the laws is crazy. What are you protecting me from in this instance? The only thing you're protecting is your ability to keep the money I paid for a game that you removed is all. These so-called consumer protection laws are misnamed if you...
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was not the biggest fan of this game. I thought I was gonna love it, but I just ended up not loving it.
You asked me.
I wanted to love it too. I went into it wanting to love it.
They're publisher protection laws in actuality, and they have nothing to do with the well-being or desires of me or the people watching this video, and then some. None of this protects us. I want to use a game that is not wholly online to exactly express what I mean here and to tell you that it's not just online games that are affected by this. So, did you guys ever play Transformers Fall or War for Cybertron? I thought those games were excellent.
No.
Personally, I found those two games to be the best Transformer games ever made, and I loved them so much. Even the online component to those games as well was really fun to play too. But I lost countless hours customizing my Transformers and joining the campaign that it had as well. I would tell you that you should go try it out, but you can't anymore. You see,
Fuck! I was so excited.
both of these games were re-released on PS4 and Xbox One and so on a few years back. They originally came out on PS3, Xbox 360, and then some, in case you didn't know. However, following that release, they mysteriously just disappeared from all digital storefronts. You can still search them up on these game services, and
Oh,
yeah,
it
they
looks
will
so
pop
fun.
up, but you can't buy or play them anymore, even if you bought them again, like I did. Meaning that yes, Activision and Hasbro essentially took my money and many others for these Transformer games and then turned around and went, oh, sorry. You see, the licensing agreement kind of ended, so we're just gonna pull all these games from you, whether you
That's
like it or not.
wild.
And if you just didn't already have these games, downloaded on your console or library, you now had no Transformers games to play or enjoy, even if you wanted to, despite paying the money for it. Let me prove a point to you, okay? This is from Games Radar.
That is why we have Power World downloaded at all times, just waiting for Nintendo to drop the axe.
Back in 2023. Activision didn't actually lose the delisted Transformer games, Hasbro says shortly after insinuating Activision lost the Transformer games. So obviously fans of Transformers, myself included, were pissed, cause these games are actually so awesome, dude. But notoriously, a Hasbro representative, when pressed about why these games
so fun,
suddenly
dude.
got
Why can't we
delisted
get
out of
one of those?
nowhere, then tried to claim that actually the reason why the
Bro.
games are now gone were because there was a loss of the actual data of these Transformer games.
I want to play this fucking game so bad now. Why did you do this to me, Andy? Why?
Yeah, they claim that they just lost the Transformer games. Like, nobody knows why, and that's why they got delisted. I'm
Sorry,
not even
guys.
kidding. Here's
They're
what the rep
gone.
said. Sadly, apparently, Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in their building, that Hasbro representative said. When a company eats a
Oh, fuck, dude. They're like, we just don't know where they're at.
company that eats a company, things get lost. That's very frustrating. Hope is that now that the deal is moving forward with Microsoft and Xbox, that they'll go through all of the archives and every hard drive to find it all because it's an easy Game Pass ad. We want those games back up for people to have a chance to play. Then, an Activision executive would get interviewed about this exact same question and would say this instead. These headlines are wrong. We have the code. It's not lost and never was. Oh! So Hasbro was lying the entire time and the Transformer games are totally fine and they're safe and all that? Well, how did Hasbro answer this? They said, to clarify, comments that suggest Transformer games have been lost were made in error. Of course they were. The real
What the fuck?
reason was that Hasbro wanted more money for the rights and Activision said no. So, because of the greed of these companies, you now can no longer play these amazing Transformer games, even if you wanted to. And this is what Stop Killing Games is all about. And by showing you how these executives just flat out lied, it tells me that this VGE group, they're just cut from the same cloth too. It's not that they're saddened that you can't play these games anymore. It's just that they don't care if you can't as long as someone isn't paying them enough. Because yeah, obviously, it's all about money. And the art, the fandom, the legacy, none of those matter to people like these. We're all just meat for these people, for the grinder to them. And yeah,
I'm just so pissed off how cool this fucking game looks and that I can't play it. That irritates me.
Yeah, it sickens me. Maybe you wanted to play, I don't know, Spider-Man Web of Shadows one of these days again. Oh,
own it on disc, baby.
Sorry, my bad. That game is also delisted too. Same reason, by the way. The license expired. And by the way, Web of Shadows doesn't even have any online components. It's just a badass single-player Spider-Man game where you can wield cool symbiote powers and save New York City. So I don't want to hear someone say, actually, this only affects online games. No, it doesn't. It affects all games.
Fuck!
You can't even play the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games for the same reason too. All of these excellent games that I've mentioned just lost in the netherworld of like corporate greed because some schmuck in a suit isn't getting paid enough to let the game just stay up so people can still play it. And seriously, that sucks because Spider-Man Web of Shadows, in case you haven't played that game, it's so dope,
So
dude. If
good.
you haven't played it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
So
But
good.
unfortunately, of course, unless you own a physical copy of the game on like 360 or PS3 or something,
Nice.
you're
Never mind.
genuinely SOL at this point.
We're in good
And
news.
the fact that the VGE says that private servers are not always a viable option, that is also absurd. Yes, they are. You know they are. You just don't want them to be an option because you won't make as much money than if they are. But the fact that the better alternative here is to just nuke the game from orbit, then allow it to seemingly exist for the rest of time is awful. And just who are these people that just, decide these things? Are they even of like a neutral party that works for the betterment of games? Well, let's go look at that now. So the head chair of the VGE is Hester Woodliff, who has ties to Warner Brothers games because of course they do. And I'll look at the rest of the board who's against this as well. Epic Games, Electronic Arts, Activision even. Who else do we have? Embracer, Microsoft. Yeah, they just laid off 9,100 people, by the way. Nintendo, Sony, Take-Two, Ubisoft for crying out loud. Dude, this just reads like cartoon villains at this point. Yeah, no wonder this board that are demanding stop killing
Cinnamon Rogers has to be my favorite one.
Games ends because
Clemens Kundrich.
these people are literally the entire
so
games
funny.
industry
Clement
that benefits from the
Kundrich.
killing of these very games. So it sickens me, man, how they say stuff like that many games
like
are made from the ground up to be online only, and that these proposals would just worsen developer choice. No, they wouldn't. You know they wouldn't. You're like that Hasbro executive who lied about Transformers being lost on a hard drive somewhere. You, the publishing giants, get to decide whether a game is made for online only. It's not the developer. Stop lying. Don't try to gaslight me and others into thinking that the reason why some games are always online is because the developers wanted it that way to begin with. No, your investors and your shareholders wanted it that way so that you could force microtransactions and more into your products. And you did that so you can make as much money as possible while also...
So this video that we're talking about here, this video is talking about a thing called Stop Killing Games, right? So right now, if you even have like a single player game that has any online DRM or anything, companies can revoke the license. So even if after you paid money, you paid full price for a game, they can revoke the licensing of it. Where now you will no longer, if you have a digital or physical copy, right, you can no longer play that game. It's basically a piece of plastic.
Why?
Because of the law. And there's a whole movement dedicated to fixing, to trying to amend that and fix that.
But if you have a disc, how can you not play it?
Right. Right. Now you're getting it. Now you're understanding. So this whole thing called Stop Killing Games is about telling these companies that they have to preserve these games. So after you paid money for something, they at least have to relinquish the ability for people to put on their own private servers, and also to leave the game in a functional state to be able to play it. Because that's after you've accepted the money. Like, you took our money. It's like saying, all right, what I recently just said earlier, it's like, dude, if you own an N64, this is the same idea as that they would just come in the door and take the fucking game from you.
Why?
Because of copyright and intellectual property. Even though, because basically the technology has moved far faster than the laws.
Well, this is all too complicated for my parents' slow process.
Do you think that you should be able, if you buy a game for full price, do you think you should be able to play that game no matter what?
Yeah, obviously you paid for it.
Because you paid. All right, that's all I need. Thank you. Okay. You heard her, folks. You fucking paid for it. You need to be able to play it.
So conveniently giving you and the other suits an easy kill-all option that you could pull at...
When did we erase common sense?
Yes.
Believe me. Right now, they just sent out a big fucking thing today where all these fucking conglomerates that make games and games like Netflix, all these places, Epic Stores, they said that they're against Stop Killing Games, that it's unfair to the companies to leave it in a functional state.
Last time I checked, consumers were the customers. Without the customers, you have no corporation. Without the corporation, you have no money. So, when did
Look at that.
The customers...
She doesn't play games.
No.
But she's not a fucking idiot. It's like the people that argue for this shit or against Stop Killing Games. Like, I really don't fucking understand you. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
any given time that you wanted so that you could pull the game, once it stopped making the money that you wanted from it. So you could stop paying to keep it alive while also keeping all the money that you made off with it. It's so gross, man. And like I showed you with Transformers and Spider-Man, these games have robust single
Gross is such a good fucking adjective to use here, dude. That's I feel disgusted thinking about it.
player campaigns. Yet you can't play either of them digitally on most storefronts unless, again, you own a physical copy of these games. This is so anti-consumer, it's insane. And the fact that they're trying to say, well,
I'm almost done with this video, and I'm probably gonna call it a day. But we're gonna start doing more of these videos if you want to hang out and watch them with me. They're fun. I can get you a pair of headphones.
Oh, you miss me streaming?
I do miss you streaming. We don't have to play games. We could just fucking watch some videos. As long as we have to put meaningful commentary, but that's about it.
When don't I? I'm the
Of
funny
course,
one.
I know you're the funny one, and you're the cute one.
I'm the funny one.
Yeah, and the cute one. They're getting a fucking double negative over here, dog.
Maybe 10 years ago we could say I was cute.
Whatever, dude.
way
That was
these
a long
games
time ago.
I love you.
work is out of our hands anyways. We can't make them work because they're made from the ground up to be digital only. Yet they of course leave out the fact that it's because of them these games are forced to be online only to begin with. Transformers doesn't need to be online only, it has a single player campaign. You suits just use this as a convenient gaslighting material thing to get your way in the end like you always do. This entire mission statement, I'm not kidding you, it reads in such a way that these executives are just hoping that you're all too stupid or bothered to think critically about any of this. And then they try at the end there, which reads that these games would become too expensive to make if Stop Killing Games got its way. Are you kidding?
That sounds like your fucking problem, dude. Our private servers are always not viable as option for players' protections. We put in place. So they're trying to use security for the reason why they can't allow private servers. Like, what kind of weird cop out, dude? At least put it on the responsibility on the person. That if I play this happened to me where I fucking went onto a private server, and yes, I did end up getting hacked. They did end up hacking my shit, right? For one day, thank God for two-person authentication, right? But you gotta at least put it on the consumer to make that decision for themselves.
Kidding me. The games being made, their budgets are finalized by you, the suits, not the developers. Don't lie to me again. You know these developers need to go to you to say, hey, we need this amount of money to make this game. And then you go, actually, we could only give you this much. And then you sign a check and whatever. It's not up to the developers, and you know that. Again, these people lie and try to shift the blame to make themselves seem like they're the ones who have their hands tied. So tell me this then, okay? If the developers can't decide anything on games, and neither can the publishers who pay for these games and then some, then who exactly is paying for these games to get made in? Like, who's doing it? The mole people? Aliens? Who's the top dog here that is giving games these overbloated budgets and then complaining that they're too much money to make them? Because it has to be someone. And my guess, it's probably not aliens, but a bunch of people who don't play video games in the first place that have investors and whatnot who all sit in a room with various Zoom calls in the background saying, okay, we're going to make this and give this much money to make it. And it's also these publishers that time and...
Not the biggest fan of that combat system, but I love this game.
And again, have insanely high expectations for their games. Like, did you know, this is crazy, let me show you guys something, as seen here from TechSpot. Electronic Arts has set a goal for the next Battlefield game to hit 100 million players. And it also has a budget of roughly $400 million in total as well. Why are they spending more money making a Battlefield game than it took to make, like, Avengers Endgame? So let me get this straight, you guys...
Just to fucking imagine if it flops, dude.
You guys have the money to blow to make a new multiplayer shooter game, but you don't have the money to keep games from being delisted. This is incredible to me. Also, can we just circle back to that number for a second? 100 million players is what EA wants for the next Battlefield. Are they crazy? Not even Call of Duty or Fortnite reaches numbers anywhere close to that, and they have robust free platforms for years now. Where are these 100 million players supposed to be coming from? Mind you, the entire Battlefield series. In case you don't know, it debuted in 2002. It has amassed somewhere around 88 million copies sold for the entire franchise. So EA wants this next Battlefield game that costs $400 million. Oh my god, dude. To reach a higher player count than every single other Battlefield game ever released combined, by the way, and then some in this one game. Talk about setting
The footage he did show there was sick.
yourselves up for failure there.
I never played Battlefield 2042, but that sandstorm coming in did look sick.
What happens when this next Battlefield, I think it's called Battlefield 6 right now, but I don't know if that's the official name. It may end up being something else, but whatever. How is it going to reach this insanely bloated number? And what happens then? You're going to lay off employees if it doesn't hit that? Say DICE failed because they didn't reach your insanely high expectations. That obviously make literally no sense from a player standpoint. And what happens in, I don't know, 5 years from now when this Battlefield game can't maintain your projections? Are you just going to kill this game too? Like you have so many others in the past and studios as well, because EA has killed so many, dude. They're just gonna what? Turn the servers off? Maybe you'll claim the game is also lost on a hard drive somewhere in some employee's desk that nobody knows about, but you'll keep all the money, of course, that you made and then sunset this Battlefield game alongside other ones one day because, sorry, it's not making hundreds of millions of dollars a month anymore, so now all this work and playtime and cosmetics and dedication and fandom, guess what? None of it matters anymore. And now we're just gonna kill this game like so many others before it, and where does this end exactly? You see, this is why Stop Killing Games is so
It ends with you bent over the table, fucking taking it up the ass, and saying thank you, sir, may I have another.
important, because these people don't care about the integrity nor the longevity of these games, and yeah, it shows. If they're not complaining about games not selling enough, they're complaining that it's actually this company's fault. And if it's not that, actually, we're just going to sunset this game because not enough people are buying or playing it. Ignore the fact that we set the budget ourselves to games like the new Battlefield to $400 million, by the way. That's totally normal now, isn't it? Like, look at what that same TechSpot article said about this new Battlefield's expectations. Several Electronic Arts developers who have worked on the project expressed concerns that the company is setting an unrealistic goal by targeting 100 million players, a figure significantly higher than what any previous title in the franchise has achieved. Yeah, unrealistic is not really the word I would use. I would probably say absolutely knucking futz is more appropriate here. They even say, as seen here,
my man said knucking futz,
that the previous Battlefield hit 22 million players, and the most successful Battlefield, which was Battlefield 1, hit roughly 30 million players.
Very good game.
So EA wants this next one to hit basically a 300% influx of players, otherwise they're going to be disappointed, and then lay off a bunch of developers who are working their cheeks off to meet the demands of these people who don't even play video games anyways. And yet, EA is also a part of that same council that again said Stop Killing Games is being unrealistic. What are we doing, guys? What is happening? The industry is like a string now. And the insanely out-of-touch suits are on one side pulling for more money, more players, more microtransactions. And the other side is the developers and the players trying to pull these freaks back into reality. Battlefield 6, or whatever they end up calling it, will have a free-to-play mode at launch, but apparently the game itself will still be a premium title. So think of it sort of like Call of Duty, Black Ops 6 coming out, and then Warzone, like pretty much that, but Battle.
Alright, to clarify, that Stellar Blade clip that we just saw seemed a little bit better than the original stuff we just looked at.
Battlefield instead. And it's probably also going to be $80 digitally at retail because, Nintendo screwed everyone over with their greed already earlier this year. But that being said, believing that this game will somehow hit a 100 million player mark is insane. Imagine being a developer on this game being told with a straight face, if this game doesn't reach 3 times and then some, the player base of the most successful game in this series, you'll be out of a job. But I won't, even though I make all the dumb decisions. But you will. But this is where we are with this Stop Killing Games initiative right now. The very people who actively work against the players' best intentions are trying to claim that this movement is both unrealistic and will harm the integrity of online video games in the future, while completely ignoring the fact that it's these very same types' greed and need for online experiences that will into existence for the sole purpose of nickel and diming you for all the paid cosmetics and the collaboration skins that will inevitably come to these games and more so that they can buy more houses and yachts. And that these games and the way they are being created are designed with the sole intention to make as much money as possible as quickly as they can. so they can then pull the rug from underneath you, leaving you with nothing and then making off into the sunset like a bunch of bandits. And yet they see you as the problem and never them. I want you to
Yeah.
know I will be pushing and fighting for this movement as much as I can because I believe in it. Whether it's Transformers, Spider-Man, Battlefield, and more, yeah, this needs to
Great
change.
video, dude.
We truly need these companies to, as
Really
in the name
fucking good video.
suggests, stop killing games. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome video. I completely agree. I love the fact that I love the verbiage that he used here. You know, it's insane, dude. It's insane. And obviously these fucking companies that are abusing the system want the system to continue, dude. That should just means we need to be louder. We need to be sharing these videos. We need to be telling people this. You know, this is the only way we can fucking change something, dude. It's the only way we can do anything, dude. We gotta fucking talk about it. But anyway, so I think we're gonna wrap up the stream here. I had a fucking blast. I mean, we had a couple visitors throughout the year, and I think once we start getting known a little bit better. What are you looking for? Your money? Okay. But yeah, I had an absolute blast today. I'm gonna get some videos ready for next time. I'll obviously like and share and subscribe to Endymion. He is the fucking man. Love his videos. We're gonna be watching more of them in the future because really dig them. So, but anyway, definitely if you're in the European Union, please sign the petition if you haven't already. Please sign Stop Killing Games. It's so important, dude. It's so important, and I think if we can't undersell this enough, because of course that these giant conglomerates want to push back. You know, this is absolutely. Like I said, I just want to reiterate it again. Please, if you're in the European Union, please sign Stop Killing Games. It only takes a minute to sign your name. You know, like they're at 1.2 million right now, and it needs to get to 1.6 million, dude. We need to guarantee that this is brought up to legislation so we can stop this fucking nonsense and show these fucking AAA fucking publishers and these game publishers that the current system isn't working for the consumer. Us. People that pay the fucking money for them to have jobs. It's not working. It's not good.